Our next guest is in the studio. He's the governor of Kakamega County, FCPA Fernandes Barasa. Good morning, Your Excellency.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to the hot seat of Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here again.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Keeping well.
How is Kakamega?
Kakamega, we're doing fine.
Yeah.
Good weather. Everything is set for the investment conference.
Very good. We'll be talking about devolution and what's happening in Kakamega shortly. Welcoming you to the conversation. CT has the day's proverb.
Yes, our proverbs for the whole of this week come from the Republic of Burundi.
Okay.
Now, I have a question that I asked the previous guest, so I'm going to ask you the same question. The capital of Burundi. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Bujumbura.
If it was out of 100, you've got 50%. Yeah.
A good one.
It is true. The economic capital is Bujumbura, but the administrative capital is called Gitega.
Okay.
Very many African nations, oddly enough, very many African nations have that duality. Let's just go to Tanzania, which is next to it. Most people think that the capital is what?
Dar.
It is not. That's the economic capital.
Arusha.
Dodoma.
Precisely.
Dodoma.
Dodoma. You see, let's go to Nigeria. What is the economic capital?
Lagos.
Yes. And what is the administrative capital?
Abuja.
Yes. Many African countries have the same. So we were saying perhaps Kenya also ought to have Nairobi as an economic capital. And where then should we take our administrative capital, if you were to suggest?
Kakamega.
With no bias whatsoever.
Okay. His Excellency didn't even miss a beat. No sooner had I asked the question, I had not even taken a deep breath. Kakamega. So,
In fact, as soon as you started saying, oh, Gitega, oh, Dodoma, you're like,
yeah, Kakamega.
No brainer.
Yeah, rural county.
Yes.
the proverb city?
The proverb is, you cannot hide the smoke from the hut you set on fire.
You cannot hide
The smoke
the smoke from the hut you set on fire. Governor, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
You cannot stop an idea whose time has come. And for me, you cannot stop an idea of Kakamega having an investment conference. And when the time is right, and this is the time.
Okay.
What is this Kakamega Investment Conference? So I've seen first Kakamega International Investment Conference.
This is an inaugural international investment conference. And for Kakamega people, it's a strategic investment opportunity to showcase what we have for potential investors. There's a lot of economic potential in Kakamega. There's so much that has not been exploited. And in my own wisdom and my team, we thought it's important that we tell the world the areas and opportunities available for investments. And that is why we have the Kakamega International Investment Conference. Yeah.
It's interesting because then Devolution just jumping right into it, Devolution presents an opportunity then for different parts of the country to do exactly this. So then one would ask, for an investment conference, I mean, looking at, the largesse of it, what are you asking the world essentially to come and invest in Kakamega in?
Now, what we are telling the world is to be aware of our investment opportunities. Number one, there's too much potential in agriculture. Kakamega is an agricultural county. In fact, 52% of our county gross product comes from agriculture. And agriculture, there are opportunities in various value chains. We have the agribusiness, which is having a lot of potential. We have dairy value chains. We have established milk processing plants. So we need to get investors to operationalize the same. When you go to area of livestock value chains, we have opportunities for investors because Kakamega, we have around 12 smart farms, which we're trying to make them available to showcase what are the value chains you can get, not just from doing dairy, but also the associated benefits. We have opportunities in water, environment, and of course, the latest conversation being climate action. Kakamega boasts itself to have the only existing rainforest, tropical rainforest in East Africa. That is a Kakamega forest. These forests, we have opportunities for the environmental enthusiasts, at least to own part of the forest. Not really owning per se, but to adopt, because owning is another conversation. Adopting a forest means you could get, let's say, 10 acres to plant, to grow trees. We have opportunities of doing forest conservation. At the moment, we are doing fencing with the forest. We have brought on board quite a number of environmental enthusiasts who are supporting us to fence the forest. It offers opportunities for scientific research. You can imagine we have 450 bird species in the Kakamega forest. We have over 200 snakes.
You have 200
samples.
snakes.
Yeah. Species, both. Yeah, so the main opportunities. Of course, then we have the famous route called Mukombera is very famous there. Yeah, I'm sure that there is a conversation which people will be looking forward to go and explore. And that's why tomorrow, being the inaugural day, we'll be doing a pre-conference by just touring the forest. We have opportunities in solid waste management, where we are now going organic farming. And that is also one of the environmental responses, because we have realized synthetic fertilizer is not very good to the farmer. So we are encouraging investors to come and invest in solid waste management. Sewerage management also, we have opportunities. We have actually 5 municipalities in Kakamega. Administratively, we are very big. We have 60 wards. We have 400 community areas. We have 13 sub-counties. So that's why when you told me about the administrative capital, I didn't hesitate. Because Kakamega comes second on Nairobi in terms of our population and also the size of the county.
How would you say Kakamega has cleaned up house? Because this is interesting. Essentially inviting somebody else and many other people to come into the county and, spruce it up. Essentially, that's what we are saying.
Absolutely.
But how has Kakamega cleaned up house? Let's say the last 10 to 12 years since the time of devolution, before things now came to the surface at the county level. What would you say would be the profile of development in the county? So much so that we can now say, you know what? We've set the ground. What we need now to raise the profile is external investors. So essentially, if you were to give a scorecard of how devolution has enabled the development of an agenda of Kakamega County to, garner some points, how has it fared? And what would you say are some things that still need some work?
First and foremost, I want to agree with you that devolution has really transformed Kakamega, of course, to a large extent in the area of infrastructure. We've done very well on having at least bitumen roads and these all weather roads. So infrastructure is good, although not very good, because we still have gaps and opportunities for growth. We've done very well in terms of establishing the infrastructure, especially in agriculture. I've talked about the smart farms. Kakamega is the only county in the Lake Region Economic Bloc that has a fish factory. You'll be surprised it's not in Kisumu or Homa Bay. Fish factory actually is in Kakamega.
Why would you say it is surprising?
Because somebody will be like, where is the lake? How come there's no lake in Kakamega?
That's the point. We had a fish, we had a fish factory in Thika. Again, you'd ask the question, where's the lake?
Where's the lake?
Yes. So the question would be, Should we say investments favors a prepared mind?
Absolutely.
Because the proximity of Kakamega to the lake region is right there. If the lake region did not see the need and Kakamega did, good.
Very well. So when you go to the area of social development, we are setting up, it will be the second largest football stadium. We have a cathedral of football in Kakamega called Buhungu International Stadium. 40,000. I can see my brother laughing when I talked about cathedral.
No, I'm smiling because he is not wrong. It's a place where football is like a religion.
Very well.
Yes.
I think we are together on that one.
Yes.
So Buhungu International Stadium is there. We've so far done almost 50%. We are partnering with the national government to make sure that we actually have it ready for CHAN 2024 and AFCON 2027. So alongside that, of course, you have opportunities now for building other infrastructure, like 5-star, 4-star hotels, which land is not a problem. We'll provide land. We have opportunities of coming up with hostels. We have Masinde Muliro University that has 21,000 students. We have some national polytechnics there, Galagala, 14,000 students. So opportunities for complementing the affordable housing program are there. So in terms of social, so at least we have the infrastructure. When it comes to health, we have, again, it's going to be the biggest health facility once completed, called Kakamega Level 6 Referral Hospital, which is a 750 bed capacity, bigger than KNH for information. Once it is completed, then it will be the biggest. So the opportunity we have is operationalization and equipping of that facility, telemedicine, opportunities in setting up cancer centers, because cancer is the real thing now. So on the side of medicine and health, those are the opportunities. But the good thing is with the devolution, we have the infrastructure. At least we have started and we are walking, we're not crawling. So we just need someone to lift us up and we'll be...
And run with it.
Absolutely.
What we are seeing a lot of increasingly is these investment conferences in counties, right? So counties saying we want to showcase the opportunities that are there for investors to come into our county, and we shall facilitate you in getting the ball rolling. But what kind of facilitation are you promising? If an investor attends this conference, for example, in Kakamega, and they see opportunity in agriculture, they see opportunity in waste management, they see an opportunity in social amenities, like you said, in healthcare, in real estate, right? What is it that the county government is promising to do? Because you see, at national level, we have Can Invest. As you say, come in, we shall facilitate you as an investor to come into the country and to invest. If it's about licensure, if it's about all those, we shall help you in setting off your business. What is Kakamega, for example, promising an investor?
First, I want to just repeat the theme of the investments. We are actually looking at positioning counties as the new frontiers of investment and development, which resonates very well with the famous bottom-up term. I don't want to go in many details about bottom-up. What Kakamega will be doing, number one, is to provide land, because land is crucial for any investor to come and set up a factory. What the employer, in this case the county, will do is to make sure that land is available. That's number one. We'll make sure that the infrastructure, which I had already alluded earlier, at least for accessibility, is available. And then more importantly, the labor, which will be a win-win situation, because we believe that when these investment opportunities are harnessed, then labor will not be a problem. And the market, of course, is crucial. With our county aggregation and industrial parks, that provides an opportunity for investors to aggregate their products and then have them exported. So we are looking at both local and international investors. Yeah.
Okay. You see, all those things can be provided by any county, right? Land, infrastructure, some roadworks here and there. Labor is available everywhere. Market. What is it that what are the barriers for trade? I'm sure you've looked and seen these are the barriers for trade in Kakamega and in the lake region and in the country. What are those barriers in terms of somebody coming in and starting from scratch? I want to register a business. I want to start a business. I want to start operationalizing my business. What are the key barriers and the key pain points?
What we've done in Kakamega is to make sure that there is ease of doing business by amalgamating all these licenses, trade licenses, into a single business license. That makes it easier for an investor not to be asked at 10 or 20 licenses, and yet he has various investment opportunities. So amalgamation of those trade licenses into a single business license is one of the strategies of just making it easy. And then number two, of course, some of the approvals required may be national, and I'm sure the national government will do its bit, especially if it's environment. We need the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, to do the approvals. And of course, in terms of administrative support, as I said, we have very good and vast administrative support with 12 sub-counties, sub-county coordinators, 60 ward coordinators, 400 community area administrators. So in terms of administrative support, we have it. Yeah, so I believe the amalgamation of the single business permits make it easy to get approvals for any environmental issues, and also proper infrastructure, both administrative and social infrastructure. This is what Kakamega County is putting in place.
Governor, does Kakamega have something akin to Can Invest? A one-stop shop, a one agency established in Kakamega through statute of Kakamega that says if you're a business person, a business entity, come in here and we will facilitate. We'll be like the liaison office. You require permits from NEMA, we will help you walk the journey with NEMA. You require permits from this other entity, we'll help you get the permits from the national entities. If it's a local offices, we'll support you and facilitate you through that. Because I'm sure you know, many business people will complain about, you'll tell us it's ease of doing business, and then you leave us to the sharks. When you're going out there, by the time you come back, all your clothes are tattered and you don't have the permit that you are seeking 6 months down the road.
In fact, I want to tell you here that we foresaw that, and we have an agency wholly owned by the county called Kakamega County Investment Development Agency, KCIDA. This is the agency that has a CEO, it has board members, it has staff, and their work is dedicated on investments. So they pitch investments. When we sign MOUs, for example, starting from tomorrow or thereabout, this is the agency that now will follow through. So we have a one-stop shop investment agency in Kakamega, which is fully operational with a CEO, a secretariat, board members. So we are good to go. Yeah.
What's the extent of their mandate?
Of course, the extent of their mandate, number one, is to showcase our investment opportunities. And that's why largely on this investment conference, they have taken the lead. Number two is to make sure that whatever it's signed off is followed through, mostly with regard to employers' obligations. I'll give you an example. Last year we had the first organic fertilizer in Kakamega, and it's actually the first in the Lake Region Economic Block that was followed through by our investment agency. We signed off with a company from the US, and as we speak now, the work is in progress because we have a unit that is following through on all the deliverables. under the leadership of our CEO. So with that agency, then we don't have any issue with regard to lack of follow-ups. Yeah.
Okay. FCPA Fernandes Barasa is the governor of Kakamega County. He's here. We are talking about devolution and making counties now the new frontier for investment in this country. Kakamega is organizing the first international investment conference from tomorrow the 19th to the 22nd of March this year in Kakamega, of course. And they're saying, investors, everybody come and see the opportunities that are abound in this county. We are asking, so yeah, I come and see. Then what? City.
What's the population of Kakamega County?
2.5 million people.
Okay. Now, you have an investment company. Okay.
Yep.
What's its mandate? I know the question was asked. I'm asking it again. What's its mandate? And within this mandate, what does it actually do in terms of spurring businesses and ensuring that the revenues that are accumulated from these businesses come into the county? There's a reason why I ask again. If you have an investment organization within the county and you have 2.5 million people, business opportunities spread among 2.5 million people
Yes.
is sizable. If I use this as your pilot scheme, the 2.5 million people, and then we look at Kenya, we look at East African Community, and then we look at the 1.3 billion people in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Okay?
Yeah.
Now let's go back. Kakamega investment.
Yeah.
Mandate. Scope.
Our investment agency, the mandate is to harness all the investment opportunities and exploit them to maximum potential. And one of the things which, of course, it is charged with is to make sure that we identify the opportunities available in all sectors. Tourism, we have not even talked about it because it's one of the critical areas. Once the investment opportunities have been identified, it is the work of the investment agency to market those opportunities to both the local, 2.5 will start from home, before you go to the region, 20 million for the Lake Region Economic Bloc, and then of course 50 plus million Kenya and abroad using the KIPES. So yes, we start from local. If it's fish factory, you start by making sure that the locals are eating fish. So the work of the investment agency, number one is to identify, exploit, and make sure that we have the investments being rolled out. From the county, we have a few that we are doing, like I told you about the fish factory, which we have set up using our equitable share. We have so many other opportunities which have been identified, but because of competing initiatives on the cash flows, that is why it now becomes necessary to invite other people to partner with us so that we can exploit them to full potential. Yeah.
What's the population of the diaspora, the Kakamegan diaspora?
I don't have that figure, but I can assure you, Kakamega, when you go to every county, you'll find, in fact, we are even more in Kiambu. And then my brothers.
Kiambu is a sub-county.
So they're 14.
You go to Migori, you'll find Mulembe Nation is there in a big way, right? So, yeah, diaspora, we have many.
You see, why I ask the question is because if we look at the remittances that we get in this country, they form our largest foreign exchange earning in the country. Now, I'm looking at those who are outside the country.
Very well.
And those who come from that region. Would they not be the people who perhaps would be sufficiently interested in investing in their home country?
In fact, one of the things I want to tell you is we have the Mulembe Nation Association in Washington. Those guys are willing and ready to come and invest. They are having some projects which they've been doing in housing. And some of them, of course, will be inviting them to come, because they were like, wait a minute, we cannot be investing in Kisumu and Kakamega. We're not investing because we have the capital, right? So tell us, give us land, we'll put up hotels. Give us land, we'll do hostels. So these are fellows who are ready to put in 2 to 3 billion Kenya shillings in hospitality industry, the diaspora. And the good thing here is we already have an association of Kakamega diasporians who are ready and willing, for not just Kakamega, but the Mlembe nation, who are ready and willing to come and invest home. Yeah.
What legal framework are you putting in place to ensure that you're sufficiently able to support this? So, for example, when you set aside land that is public land, and then you invite an investor to come and invest in this land, what is the legal framework for it? Is it that you're leasing the land on a long-term lease to these investors? Are they owning the land going forward? Is there any sufficient legislation that supports this? So that, it doesn't mean that after 10 years of Fernandes Barasa as governor of Kakamega, the next governor comes in and says, there was no law. As far as we are concerned, this is public land. Demolish whatever facility this is.
For information, the land that exists in Kakamega, unless it is private land, any land that we got from the defunct local authorities belongs to the county. That's number one. Number two, we are progressively having a land bank, because we know one of the key things which an investor will be interested in is where do I set up my factory. So with this land bank, it becomes easy for us to provide that as our contribution, and we are looking at a partnership, which of course will be through at least 30 or 40 years, depending on the return on investments. So that's the legal framework I'm looking at. Yeah.
And I think that, we hear it all the time that, PPPs, and this is essentially what some of these things are, that we're asking, external partners to come in and, join hands. What would be the implementation framework for a lot of these things? Because unfortunately, implementation is the place where great ideas at government level go to die. Unfortunately, and so the potential then, unfortunately, then disappears, and the things that you see now, whereby you can look at a blueprint and you can say, look, this is what Kakamega will look like if we have investment that comes in this area. You've talked about it, agriculture, you've talked about the environment, you've talked about climate, and so many other things, water. And we could have folks who are very interested and actually want to come and either put their money, expertise, other resources behind it. But then somehow with implementation, as we've seen in the past, because this is not a foreign thing, as we've seen in the past, implementation now becomes the bane of a lot of these projects. And then one would hope that at this place that you see, look, this is something that could actually lift the profile of this county significantly and do something for the livelihoods of the people, of the 2.5. So how would you then be able to guarantee that you can see from far what the dangers or the challenges would be? And you say that we are focused and we are going to make sure that these things are actually done.
Now, one of the strategies which I've already talked about is to foresee a need for land. So is to have a land bank. Every year we have put in the budget that we need to have a minimum of 50 acres. Of course, last year because of the county aggregation and industrial park, the land bank was 100 acres, which was the minimum required. Number two, for purposes of making sure, of course, the implementation framework will differ from one company to another. One organization will want a PPP. Another organization will want a different model. This is an investor, for example, like the organic fertilizer. It's not a PPP per se. They're coming in. We have given them land of 20 acres. Because what I'm looking at by having these opportunities, number one is to increase economic growth, to provide employment. And then these factories, they'll produce organic fertilizer, which is an environmental response to synthetic fertilizer. This fertilizer will be sold to our farmers at subsidized prices. So when you look at the ripple effect of that investment being there, is bigger than just providing land. So it becomes a win-win situation.
So what kind of deal have you signed with that company, for example? If it's not a PPP, what is it?
It's actually a commercial enterprise, because when you look at the PPP framework, it is quite complicated.
It's laborious.
I can tell you the approvals you will need to get from the PPP unit. You can take 10 years. After your time, you're still chasing for approvals. So the thing is, to anticipate mitigating that is to have, first of all, a memorandum of understanding with very clear obligations and how you're going to partner. And one of the biggest things, for example, when you have a leasehold, land that is provided on a lease period, that becomes a commercial engagement, which to a large extent would now ease the challenges of getting PPP approvals. Because yes, we have the legislation. I've seen the challenges of operationalization of the legal framework of the PPPs, especially in agriculture. Yeah.
Okay.
So going into that one, so PPP is a laborious route to take.
Yeah.
And people want quick wins,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, people want to be shielded from politics.
Yeah.
Where somebody comes and invests and they put in billions of shillings, and then they feel that a change in regime changes their fortunes in what they're doing. 10 years is a very short time for a long-term investor. This is a time when they've just, finished setting up their processes and they're starting to trade. And then change in government, change in regime, and things change. What is it that they are demanding, that they want as their, minimum guarantees going forward? What is it that the investors are demanding and saying, I want to have a conversation. I can see the opportunities, but I want assurances to this extent. What from your previous conversations have you seen?
For example, our fish factory, which we set up in Kakamega, what our investor wanted was to be given land on lease. Then everything else, they come in to provide the equipment, right? They come in to do the operationalization. And then we also have some NGOs who are very interested in supporting through conditional grants some of those investments. So like the fish factory, we're getting a lot of support from IFAD. It's an international food administration and the department, which is very enthusiastic through conditional grants just to support issues around nutrition and aquaculture. So with these conditional grants, what now the investor will do is to come and set up the factory. You have the money, you have provided the land, so it becomes a win-win situation. Other investors will only want land because it varies from one company to another. There is one that is doing dairy factory. What you have done is provide land, and using our equitable share, we are now the ones financing that. But the equipping, because it may be expensive, will now want to have a partnership on how the equipping of that dairy factory will be like. So it is going to be done on case-by-case basis.
Case-by-case basis. Does Kakamega have special economic zones or export processing zones? Areas where you can say, because of the national SEZ, EPZ framework, an investor coming in here will get some tax incentives and so on and so forth.
We don't have special economic zones per se, but we have industrial parks. And in those industrial parks, they're in 3 regions. And what largely we have done is to set up some sizable piece of land, which provides now the basis or the bait for telling investors, look, if you want to invest in a tea factory in this region, you can get this land, because what is more crucial is the land. When you go, let's say, to the northern part of Kakamega, specifically a place called Likuyani, we have set up a county aggregation and industrial park, 100 acres. It will even serve Uasin Gishu and Trans Nzoia. When you come to the southern region, where we have the organic fertilizer, we have an industrial park, land 50 acres. So far, you're only using 20 acres, so we still have more available. So, but I think, I get you need maybe to partner with the national government so that we see how those can now be gazetted as special economic zones, so that investors can get tax incentives. Yeah.
Does Kakamega County have a chamber of commerce?
Yes. We have the Kakamega chapter, chamber of commerce, and we are working very closely with that chamber of commerce. Yeah. By the chair is an FCPA like me.
So this looks great, in terms of, the woodwork, Now, when you fill in, and for me, I'll always ask that for the people of the county, when we talk about livelihoods of people, what would change specifically? What would improve for the people of the county? And what time period are we looking at? What would we be able to look at and say, because of these investments that we've seen in the county over the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, even, after CPA Fernandes Barasa is gone from the county leadership, that we can say, this is what has changed. This is what the people of Kakamega have. This is how their livelihoods have improved as a result of this. Not just the fish farm there, but then what does that translate to? Not just somebody coming in and talking about the environment with the Kakamega forest, but what does that translate to? When we talk about water improvement, what does that translate to for man, woman, child, young person? What does it actually mean?
Yeah, very well. On matters environment, by protecting the water catchment areas, that's a big thing. It's a big investment opportunity. These afforestation programs and restoration programs for the forest, you'll be assured of rainfall. Kakamega is known to be a rain-fed agricultural county. Which of course will now translate to issues of food security, because food security is crucial. You want to have a county that is food secure. Number two, in terms of the investments, once we have all these investment opportunities actualized, we are going to address the issue of unemployment, which is one of the biggest challenges that we have. We are going to make sure that at least people have money in their pocket. So the costs of living to a large extent will be managed, because at least people have a place they can go and get their money. This will improve the living standards, because people can afford to take their kids to school. So in the long run, the social pressure on tokenism from the county will reduce. So those are the things I'm looking at. Yeah. We'll not have a county of beggars. That is, when you go for a meeting, is looking for money from you.
The picture of success is prosperity.
Absolutely.
Across Kakamega County.
Yeah.
Do you foresee a situation where you could actually grow the revenue of Kakamega County to the point where it either equals or it surpasses whatever it is that is your share from the national government?
The answer is no. Because when you look at the revenue share that you get from the national government, there is a formula. And at the moment, whatever that the PFM Act has provided for, being the areas you can collect revenue, is entertainment and property only. You cannot collect PAYE, you cannot collect VAT, you cannot collect excise duty. So all those big tax centers, they're still domiciled by law in the national government. But what we are doing in our small way is to harness and exploit the potential around what is provided for in the PFM Act, entertainment tax and property tax, so that we collect as much as possible without, of course, increasing the cost of living. Because one thing that is more important here is to make sure that whatever you can collect within the legal framework, as of now, is quite limited. You can imagine only property tax and entertainment. Everything else is at national government, so you cannot compete with national government on that. And the framers of the constitution, I think they were very clear. They wanted to have one nation and 48 governments. So for us, we are like sub-nations.
Yeah.
So the tax regime that we have, as per the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, and all other tax legislation, are pro-national government. And the framers of the constitution were very clear that when the revenue is collected nationally by the national treasury, it is now distributed to the national government, to counties, and to the special programs, etc.
Equitably.
Equitably, very well.
Okay, now this...
And timely.
Untimely. Operative word timely. It's supposed to be a percentage of our GDP, is it not?
No. There is a formula.
Yes. As a layman, I have to ask in terms that I understand.
Yes.
So now, explain what percentage then is it that all the counties get of the national cake
Now,
after the formula has been applied?
After the formula is applied, the Constitution provides that counties will get 15%.
Not less than.
A minimum of 15% of the revenue raised nationally of the last audited and approved posts. Eh?
Right.
So what they tell you, if there's a delay in the audited accounts and approval,
nothing.
no, you don't get nothing. You get
The
like
last...
the last audited. Like for the moment, we are talking about 2020, 2021 financial years audits. So it's not really current per se.
You see, the reason why I ask is I'm looking at a county economy growing.
Yeah.
It means the national government's share of whatever is produced in the county governments will grow.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeing. So, theoretically, if this is what happens, then what the county then gets back in terms of its share
Should be more.
should be more.
Absolutely.
Which then means that the county, again, theoretically, ought to be able to do more over time. But as things stand, that doesn't seem to be a possibility.
Yeah. Okay, we are still in partial implementation of the Constitution 2010 because as per the fourth schedule, we have some functions which are yet to be devolved. I think that's the conversation that we are having with the national government, IGRTC. Yeah. And as per the costing, you realize it was around 275 billion shillings of those
That is sitting up there.
functions, which are still at national government.
Governor, send an invitation to everybody who you'd like to see in Kakamega from tomorrow.
Very well. Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to invite our local and regional international investors to our inaugural Kakamega International Investment Conference, which commences tomorrow on the 19th of March up to 22nd of March, which will be a Friday. This will be at our Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology. The theme of the investment conference is opening up counties as the new frontiers of investment and development. Karibuni Kakamega, the green jewel, 037. Karibuni Ingo. Thank you.
Karibu. Governor 037 is here. Kakamega is also a golden county, so even gold diggers are welcome. Now on Friday.
I believe you just said that. Okay.
Dinner on Friday.
Yeah.
All gold diggers.
The gold guys.
And FCPA Fernandes Barasa, Governor of Kakamega County, inviting you to the first Kakamega International Investment Conference from tomorrow until Friday the 22nd. Keep it here for more conversations.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.